Serious hackers of Reddit. What's something you stumbled upon that you immediately noped the f out? Couple of years back, I was real big into reactivating old Hotmail accounts and using them to log into Facebook. Since this was in the heyday of chain mails with 100 or so accounts there, I had a huge backlog. Don't know why I did it. A combination of boredom and verism, I think. And lots of free time. I felt like a sort of hacker. At least, occasionally, you stumble upon things you wish you weren't supposed to. I mean, yeah, I know how that sounds. Once, I came upon a guy's Facebook, and after a while you instantly realize it hasn't been used in years. A bit like coming across an abandoned house. Tons of notifications and unopened PMs. On the top of the list of those messages, it was a woman that kept trying to contact him. My first impression was that it was a stalker. Maybe an ex that wasn't able to move on. I really don't want to get into details, because even for me, it feels like I walked into an absolutely private matter, but it was mostly her talking about her day-to-day stuff, and occasionally begging him to come back. Sometimes it got real weird, with her telling him how she felt him in the wind. Turns out the guy was dead, and people have strange ways of coping. I left that habit behind. After that, man, all the f***ed up shit I read here and this got to me. A great mix of depressing and creepy. Was asked to steal a couple Bitcoin from a customer's associate back when BTC and altcoins were booming. Got access to his wallet fairly easily. Being curious as I am, checked how he got so much coin. Had tons of small sum payments with links attached to the transactions. Checked one and it was just child p. Lots and lots of child p. Told the guy I was working for his associate was a f***ing pedo and quickly dropped a line to the relevant authorities. Shit like that fucks you up, man. TLDR was asked to gain access to a BTC wallet. Checked the transactions and they were selling fucked up child edit. I'm not talking a few grand in BTC in this dude's wallet, but closer to 6 to 7 figures. Just hundreds and hundreds of small $50, $1k transactions. It's sickening edit too. No, I'm not teaching you how to gain access to crypto wallets. Stop me. Got hired through a website where someone wanted me to gain access to a kid's computer who doxed him. Got onto it and found that he was looking up recipes for explosives. Turned him in and noped out of there. Have had a few others where I found CP. It's way too common. Yep, looks like CP is the common thing in this thread. It's also the most fucked up for me. I'm not really surprised. Most of the stuff being discussed in this thread isn't exactly legal to start with. CP is one of the few things that makes even hardened criminals nope out of a situation. Many long years ago there was this website called EON8 https://i.imgur.com/icublum PNG. It was basically just a weird ambiguous splash page with a countdown timer and a map with red dots all over it. https://i.imgur.com/5cdi9qk PNG. This thing was super effective at rustling the jimmies of the entire internet. I found a way in relatively early on and, based on a few things I found in the web route, it became immediately obvious that the whole thing was a prank. So I decided to leave it alone and watch it play out. Right at the very end of the countdown, the guy that was running the whole thing updated the website with his big reveal, including some message about how hackers from all over the world kept trying to break in but none could manage it. Called us all lame noobs. I was a bratty teenager, so I took that as a challenge. I was on a teleconference with some other hackers at the time, so we jumped on the server through a back door I'd left and defaced the page with this severely cringe-inducing message. https://i.imgur.com/sescpsf PNG. Oh god, I can't believe I'm sharing this. I blacked out the guy's name, but I'm sure someone here probably knows him or knows of EON8. So if he sees this, sorry dude. GD kids. Right, anyway, right around this time, as the countdown ended, and for a while after, the server was getting swamped to the point of an essential DDoS. This was happening while I was logged into SSH on the server. I was in the process of doing some cleanup, deleting some utility scripts I'd put on the server, but I was impatient. The lag was grueling, and I was working faster than the server was sending me responses. I changed directories at one point and tried to delete everything in it before seeing a response from the server and didn't realize I'd fat fingered the cd command. I ended up deleting a bunch of his stuff that I didn't mean to. The second I realized what I'd done, I instantly felt horrible and noped the F out of there. We had planned on razzing the guy for a while, but I was just totally done. TBH, that message is kind of hilarious in its own way. Even without the date, the whole thing feels so beautifully 2006. I was hired to develop a payment processor for a unnamed large fast food brand. At this point, I had the ability to take out 100k a day into an offshore account. I would have done this by pulling a movie plot like Heist. I was going to take 2% of all tax payments. I was thinking about it for a while. Then the next day, someone I knew was busted for doing the same thing on a much smaller brand. At this point, I dipped out. I ended up working for the brand for a few more years without committing fraud. Sounds like the plot from the movie Office Space, only they got lucky as their building burned down, destroying all the evidence. Thanks for giving the movie name. I was blanking on that. Superman 3. Old boss asked me to find the personal data of somebody he had met at a hotel for reasons. I explained that I was unlikely to be able to do it untraceably. Explained social engineering. Explained that I was no good at social engineering. And noped the F out. Let him try. KPP on iOS. I'm not even going to try to find a way around that thing. Plus methods exist that don't even try to patch the kernel. Think Electra for iOS 11. Sure. But that doesn't help much if your goal is to actually patch the kernel and not necessarily just to get a jailbreak. True, but the main reason of patching the kernel is to remount the root fs/r/w, which plus jailbreaks do via a daemon instead. That requires some level of user input on boot in order to gain r/w. Unless some kind of major breakthrough happened that I don't know about. When I was messing with iOS, my job was to compromise an iPhone at the kernel level without the user knowing. For regular jailbreaks, exploiting after boot every time is fine. Beep boop hard drive. I too know your technology. Haha, yeah man, just today I was rewriting the hash functions of the substat drive mechanizer. And out of nowhere this bug shorted the mainframe and I couldn't backtrace the IP address and had to change all the MAC addresses with the filter packet analyzer. The woes of hacking, am I right? Not really a hack. The school IT department were a shats and left the password to the main account hard coded in a batch script. I went in and found all the teachers' pay, students' names, addresses, SSNs, just to name a few. Nope out. Quickly make a throwaway because slightly paranoid or whatever. Also hardly hacking, but it counts. I like finding insecure IP cameras, mostly ones with no password or the default password, and then log into them to see wherever they are. A lot are in houses. Some are in kids' rooms or whatever. Never tend to keep any open long enough to see people. One was in a random house in the front room and there was some girl on the sofa who was 4 or 5 years old. After a few minutes they got up and were totally naked. Never went back to that one. There's a sub for that. Don't recall the name though. Edit, a sub for unsecured cameras. Not the other parts. I remember it was posted on the old /r/reddit com sub that you could Google a specific URL ending and get tons of them as results. Just because that certain type of camera broadcast was always named like that. I was at a CS LAN party ages ago. I ran a bunch of nets and scripts on the network causing prompts to pop up in front of the game saying dumb shit, good luck. Right behind you. Your mother gives great head. Eventually the party organizer paused the games to walk everyone through how to disable messaging services. The funny thing was that about 15% of the people already had that off, including my group, and it caused a few unfair wins. I noped out when people starting looking at me, since I wasn't exactly quiet about the whole thing was fucking amazing. And the start of a long road of engineering and infosec work. In terms of petty gamer kid shit leading to real learning and career options. I was trying to get WCII Frozen Throne for .rulsters. The LAN had provided a cracked copy and a patch, but the patch wouldn't run. It was trying to find the path from a non-existent registry file. I looked at registry entries for other Blizzard products and created a registry file from scratch. I ran the patch again. expecting the next error and the next one, until I finally created them all. But it worked immediately. I felt like a tiny god at the LAN, and I won some nerd points for being able to help everyone. P.S. I feel nothing for the piracy of it. Icefolk got his money from me eventually. This was back in the day of Amen chat rooms. Had a guy who I was watching in a chat room. I had sent him a message acting as a 14-year-old. Told him to download my naughty picture. He did, and it was just a quick download that gave me access to the entire system. The tool I used displayed the entire system and all functions in a hierarchy of importance with the Windows kernel at the tippy top. As soon as I was all set, I deleted his kernel. I lost all my tools from back then, but that was a sweet time to be around. Seek and destroy internet pedis. What a hero. Was a spammer in the mid to late 90s. There were a group of 3 of us. Would make a website using affiliate content and then spam the link to it. Started off by scanning AOL chat rooms, and we made a decent living from it. 2-3k for each of us per week. Then we got bigger into it and left the confines of AOL, which led to bigger paydays of 20-30k per month until the authorities knocked on one of my partner's doors. They never did come to me, and I was 17 at the time. Stopped once that happened. How long did this go on? That's a lot of money. About 2 years. Being conservative. You made $500,000. That's awesome. I mean, the money making, not the spams you sent. Hope you used the money wisely. Never counted. I pissed it away as fast as I made it. One of the guys opened a coffee shop. I was the youngest of the 3. Pretty deep into the dark web for work. Looking for certain things. Came across certain adverts on darknet search websites that made me leave work until the next day. Nope, TF out there. I would prefer not to say what it was, but you can guess. Pizza? The best thing about hackers is they can be moral. Keep up the good fight. When I was young, I got into hacking AOL for cool screen names. I met people who social engineered AOL. They would call up AOL and pretend their system, mail-in, was down and trick real employees into resetting stuff. I was on the converse call when they stole the owner of AOL account, other high figures, etc. Couple years later, we all were friends playing Halo and stuff together. They told me to connect to this live server. You can control mouse. They hacked Comcast website and wanted me to connect to it. I had this weird gut feeling to ask what it was for once. And they told me. I said hell to the no. Also, these same people had a botnet channel. I was in it back in the day, and an Gov cybercrimes agent came in and told us to shut it down. I was like 14, so I was scared I was going to juvie. But now I work in sysadmin and have a good job, so I'm kind of thankful I wandered into that AOL chat back in day. It made me the person I am. I guess this counts. Not as life/death as some of the other posts here. Sniffed the credentials for our student information/grading system in high school with Cain and Abel. Did nothing with it, but I could see grades, addresses, SSNs, the works. If you know a friend who's failing a class, will you change it for him/her? Probably not, because I would have no idea how the logs are kept. Plus I haven't been in high school 4 years at this point, so it's all retrospect. Script kiddie college me decided to play with a pen testing program against a govt website from the school network. The amount of network info and other metadata as well as actual documents it was pulling was scary. Plus it was overheating my rig because of the processing power involved, and just overall I realized it was a shitty idea, so I killed it. Welcome to the botnet and enjoy your 5 megabytes of random WikiLeaks PDFs. Lol, that computer is no longer operative. I think I swapped to a new machine shortly after this. Lol, the killer of the CMD library of Ethereum multisig wallets. Approximate couple 100 million gone forever. Reading this put me through so many emotions.